How you doing, guys? I know it's been a while, so I'm gonna jump back on here and get going with the Life of Christ Part 3. Today we're gonna be on the Sermon on the Mount. I'm gonna start out in Matthew chapter 5. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Jesus gave us a lesson on how to be blessed even when you feel like you're not. This is the Sermon on the Mount, probably one of the most popular, most important sermons that Jesus ever gave. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So when you feel like your spirit is low, remember that you belong to God and his kingdom. Blessed are they which mourn, for they shall be comforted. When you're mourning and upset, remember he is your comforter. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Those who are humble will prosper. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. If you desire to be deeper in God, and you strive to be deeper in God, he will fill you with the wisdom and knowledge that you desire. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. If you have mercy on others, God will have mercy on you. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Those who are pure and sin-free will see the face of God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. If you keep the peace, you will be God's child. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you, falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Those who are persecuted for his name's sake will receive a greater reward in heaven. We've talked about greater rewards. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out, and to be trodden under foot of men. See, salt is used to flavor food. If salt had no flavor, then what good is salt? If salt has no flavor, then it has no value. If you make no effort to change those that are around you and to show yourself to be a Christian, then what good are you to him? Jesus was comparing his people to salt and saying that we should allow our life to be a taste of the life of Christ. Ye are the light of the world, a city that is set on a hill that cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Jesus continues and not only compares his people to salt, but then he compares his people to a light, and he says that they should not be hidden. We should shine the light of Christ for the world to see. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. The prophets had taken the law of Moses and turned it into a set of rules to live by. They had taught these rules in the synagogues, but oftentimes they took the scriptures and misrepresented them to make rules that they wanted people to abide by. Often these rules were not even in the scriptures to begin with. So Jesus comes along and he says, I didn't come to destroy the law or the ones that made the laws, but I came to help you better understand what God originally intended for the law. One example of a law in that time created by the prophets, scribes, and Pharisees is that under the Mosaic law, they could not eat pork. Pork was considered unclean. It should not be sacrificed, should not be eaten by the Jewish people, but we no longer live under that Mosaic law. So pork is okay for us to eat. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, so he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus basically said that if you're going to teach it, you better preach it, practice it, live by it, and obey it. Don't be a hypocrite. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter the kingdom of heaven. See, the scribes and Pharisees, they were as holy as it got back then. Jesus said that our righteousness should exceed theirs. The only way that anyone could possibly be more righteous than the Pharisees is if the Pharisees only showed their righteousness on the outside and not on the inside. And that's what Jesus was talking about. Your heart has to match your actions. If your heart doesn't match your actions, then you're just like the Pharisees. This is why the Bible tells us to be a cheerful giver, because your heart has to match your actions. It's not good enough just to give, but to do it cheerfully. That's when you will be blessed. Ye have heard that it is said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother Raca shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence, till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. Anger is just as bad as murder. Anger is a powerful emotion. It's usually driven by envy, bitterness, and jealousy. Jesus said if you're angry with your brother or your sister in your mind, then you should take it to the altar and lay it down and leave it there. The reason is because anger can quickly spiral out of control and cause violence, emotional hurt, mental stress, and spiritual damage. Anger is not the same as having aught with your brother or sister. You can be upset with someone about something and not be angry. In Jesus' time, if you owed someone a debt, you would be thrown into prison until you paid that debt. This is what he was talking about in verses 25 and 26. Normally, people would die in prison if nobody paid their debt. Jesus is saying that you should fix things between you and your brother and sister quickly before anger sets in. You should fix it so that if you don't stand before God, you won't be judged upon not fixing it. Fix it before the day of judgment. The definition of anger is a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. Let me read you this. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. Be ye angry, and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. So we know the Bible says to be angry and sin not. So there are two different types of anger. There's a godly anger and an emotional anger. The godly anger is being displeased with someone for disrespecting the house of God, as Jesus himself did in the synagogue. But an emotional anger is wanting to harm to come to some other person because of something they did. Anger is a powerful emotion. And when you're angry with someone, it means you're to the point where you're displeased with them, to where you would like to see them harmed. This is why the Bible says to be angry and sin not. Be angry that someone disrespected God in front of you, but pray that God will have mercy and save them. That does not mean it's okay to be angry with someone. What it is saying that is if you're going to be angry with someone, don't let that anger turn into the physical act of harming someone or wanting to see them harmed. Take your anger to the altar and leave it there. Pray for those who have caused you to be angered. This is why the Bible goes on and it says, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. What does that mean? Be angry, be upset, be displeased with someone, but at the end of the day, you better not take that to sleep with you. Leave it at the altar. Verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said of them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. See, in the Old Testament, it was wrong for a person to fornicate with someone that was not their wife or husband. People were often stoned to death for adultery. But Jesus came and he said not only was the act of adultery wrong, but even thinking or wanting someone in a sexual manner was wrong. It is in a sense spiritual adultery against yourself. And that would mean even to think about someone who was not your spouse would be a sin. Jesus even said that you would be better off plucking your eyes out if you could not control your lustful spirit. If you cannot control your eyes, then you should not put yourself in the position to look upon and lust. Self-control is very important in your walk with God. It hath been said, Whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. This tells us that if you're a Christian and you put away your spouse in divorcement, if your spouse is also a Christian, you have only one way to make that divorce okay in God's eyes. That is, if your spouse has committed adultery against you. The reason why this is for a Christian husband and a Christian wife is because of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and 11. And it talks about the married couple where one spouse is an unbeliever. That's a different subject. Right now we're going to stay on the life of Christ. Verse 33. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make it one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, and nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. Jesus said not to swear at all. This meant not to say things such as I swear by anything. We are to be slow to speak, quick to listen. And Jesus went on to say, just let your communication be yes and no. We should be cautious with our words because words a lot of times can hurt if they're not in the right spirit. Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. This is saying it is not okay to do to others what they do to you, out of trying to get even or vengeance. The Bible says that vengeance is God's, and at the end of the day, we will all stand before God for our actions on this earth. It goes on to say if someone sues you, to give them extra in a sense. But it means, again, to not be upset or to try to get even, but just let God have vengeance on people. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not the publicans so? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven perfect. Jesus said to love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them who hate you. Pray for those who use you and persecute you. We should always love our enemies as Christ loved the world. Even as Jesus hung on the cross, he had to forgive those who had murdered him. He had to pray for those who murdered him. He had to love, bless, and do good to those who murdered him. We must have the same love that Christ has. He also said that things happen in life to the good and bad people. God rains blessings and destruction on the just and the unjust. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, that they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. When it talks about doing alms before men and Jesus calls them hypocrites, what it's saying is that if you're blessing someone just to be noticed or for an appearance, then you're not doing it for the right reason. The Bible tells us that when we bless people financially, we should do it in secret, and God will reward the things that we do in secret. He will reward us. God bless everybody. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time.